The United States is founded on the principles of a constitutional republic, blending democratic elements with the protection of individual rights and the rule of law. Elected representatives create laws to govern the nation, but a growing concern is the increasing power of unelected bureaucrats in shaping the country's laws and regulations. This phenomenon, known as the administrative state, has significant implications for the democratic aspects of the U.S. constitutional republic. In this video, we will explore the rise of the administrative state, its implications, and the recent efforts to rein it in.
The rise of the administrative state.
The administrative state refers to the network of federal agencies and departments that create and enforce regulations. These agencies, staffed by unelected bureaucrats, have significant power to shape the country's laws and policies. The growth of the administrative state can be attributed to several factors.
1. Expansion of federal power. The federal government's power has expanded significantly since the New Deal era. This expansion has led to the creation of new agencies and departments, which have been delegated significant authority to regulate various aspects of American life. 2. Delegation of legislative power. Congress has increasingly delegated its legislative power to executive agencies. This delegation allows agencies to create regulations that have the force of law, often without congressional oversight. 3. Judicial deference. The Supreme Court's decision in Chevron USA versus Natural Resources Defense Council, 1984, established the Chevron deference. This doctrine instructs courts to defer to an agency's interpretation of a statute if the statute is ambiguous and the agency's interpretation is deemed reasonable. This deference has emboldened agencies to take a more active role in shaping regulations.
Implications of the administrative state.
The growing power of unelected bureaucrats has significant implications for America's constitutional republic and its democratic principles.
1. Erosion of representative government. The administrative state undermines the principles of representative government. Unelected bureaucrats, rather than elected representatives, are creating laws and regulations that affect the lives of Americans. 2. Lack of accountability. Unelected bureaucrats are not directly accountable to the American people. This lack of accountability can lead to regulatory overreach and abuse of power. 3. Regulatory burden. The administrative state imposes a significant regulatory burden on Americans. The complexity and volume of regulations can stifle economic growth, innovation, and individual freedom.
Recent efforts to rein in the administrative state.
In recent years, there have been efforts to rein in the power of unelected bureaucrats.
1. Judicial pushback. The Supreme Court has begun to push back against the Chevron deference. In cases like West Virginia versus EPA, 2022, the court has limited the power of agencies to create regulations without clear congressional authorization. 2. Congressional action. Congress has taken steps to reclaim its legislative power. The Reins Act, for example, would require congressional approval for major regulations. 3. Executive action. The Trump administration took steps to reduce the power of unelected bureaucrats. Executive Order 13771, for example, required agencies to eliminate 2 regulations for every new one created.
The administrative state poses a significant threat to America's constitutional republic, undermining the principles of representative government and individual rights. Unelected bureaucrats, rather than elected representatives, are creating laws and regulations that affect the lives of Americans. However, recent efforts to rein in the power of the administrative state offer hope for a more balanced and democratic system. As Americans, it is essential that you remain vigilant and ensure that your democratic institutions are protected. You must demand that your elected representatives reclaim their legislative power and hold unelected bureaucrats accountable for their actions. Ultimately, the protection of America's constitutional republic falls on your shoulders. Don't just rely on others to defend your rights and freedoms. Take an active role in holding your elected representatives accountable. It's your job and your duty to do so.